withoutborders.com. FYI.
Yeah. We're on hour 3.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
Yeah, we're going into hour 3, guys. This will be a standalone video.
For 100 years, we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here. Let us make them remember. We are not afraid.
Interfered. Here and declare your independence with me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the BEA full studios of Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, Tom, man, he's gonna get you fired up. Fired up. All right. I'm sure in the comment section on his feed and there, they're just beating the crap out of me and Davi. I'm getting texts from people that go, man, they're pounding on you. They're saying you're reading, Roger Ver is, messaging you on your laptop.
But my audience is realizing like what I do. Like I stream like every day, and now they realize like these are the battles that I fight to try to explain to people why it's going to be Bitcoin and why all of these other altcoins are going to go away.
Care.
So you should care, Ernie. But you should.
Why? I want what I want. I don't give a crap what you call it.
I don't particularly care about block size. Like, I understand that block size is going to influence the transaction fee, but I believe that the market is going to find a transaction fee that's appropriate to the block size of the program you're running. Like, that's fine with me. I don't know what is correct for the block size. What it appears to me is that Bitcoin as a trajectory is going to move toward compliance and toward whatever government demands of it, and Bitcoin Cash is not. And to me, that is the value.
It is completely the other way around.
Okay, explain that.
Because there's no office to call to get Bitcoin to do anything. It's the opposite for Bitcoin Cash. You have 3 people you can call, and you have control of Bitcoin Cash. It's Roger and Jihan.
Okay, whoa. You're confusing me with someone that gives a crap. I don't care about what should I care about? Ernie, if I cared, I'd be dumping all over on Bitcoin because of Blockstream and all the bullshit they did.
But to me, Bitcoin Cash is more centralized than the U.S. dollar.
Don't care.
People to
don't care. This is not. I'm looking. All right, you want to go?
I'm talking about the plurality of people that use and
thank you. The market. See, this is what we want to go over the second letter. What Tom wanted to do, I think, is a good idea. Is that you do, because I do this all the time. I go to different conferences and everything, and you see the group of 4 to 8 kids, under 23 to 13 over there on their $4,000 laptops, coding, doing whatever. And then the VC guys come in, they got their tie off, saying, "Yeah, we're hip, man. We got our tie off." And they walk over there in their $1,200 suit, and they go, "Hey, what's up, young man? You look like you'd be a coding. We got Lambo for you, and ooh, and you must lift. You're so strong." So they easily entice these guys to go code, another link in the chain to the crown. And we got a blockchain to the crown, man. We're all good.
Am I wrong about this? Am I wrong that the reason that SegWit stuff was integrated was so that it could interface better with the current mainstream financial system?
Completely wrong.
SegWit was to trim some of the code to make it more efficient and faster so they could squeeze more transactions into the block. It was like a block sizing.
So then that it's also something that I don't care about, because I know that the transaction fee is going to find a market price based on how fast the transactions are, based on how big the blocks are. They're both going to function. They're just going to function differently.
So SegWit,
So it doesn't matter. I don't care.
Segwit was supposed to be released a lot earlier, but like newer and newer stuff was like, oh, we also want this and we need this. So the biggest reason for Segwit is to fix a very old bug in Bitcoin that was preventing second layer scaling to make Bitcoin virtually free and virtually instant. The whole Lightning channels and Lightning
to take it off chain, which is a whole nother discussion that the market will determine on that one too. So, and Lightning is not working now.
It is working now, and it's working. It's working pretty well now. And you needed Segwit in order to make Lightning easier. Like you could have done Lightning without Segwit, but it would have been
like an unnecessary complication.
No,
that's just what it sounds like when people describe what it is.
It's a necessary complication because by going to a bigger block size, you remove decentralization. Lightning will also allow you to have,
you need bigger machines to facilitate.
And bigger blocks, you're gonna lose a lot of nodes, and then there goes the decentralization.
When I used to run a node on my laptop when it was small enough to do that, and it's not anymore. It wasn't really convenient then either. Like it took 24 hours for the thing.
Correct. And by going to a bigger block, you're making that process more difficult.
But it doesn't matter. It's big enough now. It's so big. You think it's not going to get big. I don't care how slow you increase it or fast you increase it. It's too freaking big to go on your old laptop anyway.
No, but it's not.
Why? Because technology is more? Because I can buy right now. We had on Freedom's Phoenix yesterday. It's probably on the front page right now. 1 terabyte SD cards.
It's useless.
Little SD. Go on my phone. 1 terabyte.
Ernie, Ethereum blockchain is over 2 terabytes.
1 terabyte in a freaking stamp. You telling me it's not increasing? I don't even want to talk about that anymore. You're just pissing me off.
Like people arguing whether gold or silver.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
To use to buy bubble gum when silver isn't. So, like, but the thing
that's also not true anymore.
Second letter of Captain Mark. We're going to let you critique the whole thing. We'll get through this whole thing. You can tell me.
I'm not going to critique.
You said you wanted to do that.
Ernie, you have your theory right. You're choosing a currency that's going to get you into trouble.
I'm not choosing anything. Nothing up here says Bitcoin anything. Doesn't say which one.
Well, the other thing is, based on interviews I've heard with you, Tony, you sound like you don't think that Bitcoin should function as a point of sale currency. That it should operate.
No, not.
No, that was his BS at the time when you couldn't use it.
Well, no, not at all. It should function as that when the technology is built out for that in a safe, fast, cheap, and a more private way.
But it was used for that first, so it went from being used for that to now not being used.
Well,
for that.
it was. Well, here's the thing. It's being used for that when it's not being overwhelmed. You can't build
overwhelmed.
Here's the thing. Anyone that tried to do Netflix in 1995 failed. Those that tried to do Netflix in 2011 succeeded, right? Because the underlying technology just wasn't there to support that kind of bandwidth. Okay. Bitcoin is the same way. It was great for certain uses at a certain time, but once those
now it's too many users for that.
Well, yeah,
wait. But with Lightning coming on board, and it's already being used in beta. As more usage comes in, you have to upgrade the technology to support that usage.
You're assuming that I think that is a solution. I do not want off-chain transactions. Boom. Next one. Coin is off-chain. Next.
What if those off-chain transactions are more secure and do exactly what you want, faster, cheaper, and they're private and they're still peer-to-peer?
We'll see.
In fact, Lightning is even more peer-to-peer than the on-chain one because it doesn't require mining. It's even more peer-to-peer than the underlying Bitcoin.
You know what it reminds me of? It's like with trading, and that's why I like T0. When Patrick Byrne came on, announced it on this show, he's going to do it. And T0 was the transaction is the settlement. It stops all this off-chain manipulation, naked short selling, BS speculation bullshit. And I go, all right, so what they're doing is they'll create this off-chain, this Lightning network, this another payment, mechanism. It doesn't even have to settle. It's worse than 3-day settlement. It never has to. And I'm going, gee, what could possibly go wrong with that? It's a philosophical decision.
I like 3-day
settlement. I'm sure you do.
Always do off-chain exchanges. You could always do off-chain exchanges with Casacious coins or paper wallets or sending someone your key instead of your address. That was always a possibility.
Yeah, but it's not secure and it's inconvenient.
No, it's not. Exactly. But it's possible.
All right. When we come back, we're going to start with the second. I left it up there for you guys to read and whatever. We're going to go through line by line on this and let Tone respond to it. Because you want to know, it doesn't say Bitcoin Cash. I don't give a crap about which one. We'll go through it. The Crown presses everyone into involuntary servitude. Landlubbers believe slavery was abolished years ago, but the Crown still claims to own us when it crimps us into service against our will. Given sufficient ambition, it would gladly draft thousands of hapless victims to kill or be killed. It's simply slavery by another name. Landlubbers are routinely commanded to serve the so-called justice system in jury duty. But before you swell with civic pride, consider that how you feel is irrelevant to the Crown. You will appear as ordered or face punitive measures. The Crown insists that you participate in your own oppression. A jury summons provides pirates with a unique opportunity to obstruct injustices. A juror can vote not guilty, even if it's proven the law was violated. A juror can acquit for any reason at all, and not even a judge can reverse that verdict. Receiving a jury summons is basically winning the sedition lottery. If you reveal that you know this during jury selection, you'll probably be dismissed. If the Crown foolishly crimps a pirate into jury duty, it behooves the pirate to conceal their intention to nullify unjust laws. If a master takes 100% of your labor, it's called slavery. But if they only take 50%, they call it taxation. Difference of degree, not of kind. Whether the Crown claims a fortune or a cent is irrelevant. Most of all, a slave owner desires contented slaves, meaning thoughtless ones that accept their bondage. These house slaves see no contradiction in being drafted in a war to end slavery or summoned to a jury to prosecute tax evasion. An ideal slave knows no higher call than the master's will. The Crown's highest ambition is that its slaves revere the authority that subjugates them. But the Crown does not own me. I will not surrender my time and treasure to the Crown's ambitions. Join the conversation.
Hey guys, maybe I can take a look at some Bitcoin prices while we're on break.
Do what?
I'll screen share to my guys some price of Bitcoin. That's what they're all here for. They're not getting it.
For the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group.
All right, let me see what we got here.
LibertyLobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit LibertyLobby.info today to find out more.
So it sounds like you're saying SegWit is not even something added on; it's something removed.
Listening apps for Android and iOS devices.
No. It's a huge code upgrade that SegWit itself was a block size increase. So technically, if every single transaction was actually using SegWit today, the block can be as big as 4 megabytes. But it still stays within that limit.
See, you're talking 3 months could totally tsunami that. If it's not scalable, if it's not going to be able to do it, that's why we're doing this IPFS server thing.
Good luck with that.
Hey,
but
you know,
I'm
gonna get what the fuck I want. Watch.
So SegWit
It's
itself,
like ballooning
right.
larger.
No, SegWit itself. Again, I don't know the details on SegWit, but the way SegWit basically redid how data gets stuffed into the 1 megabyte block, right? So SegWit itself was a block size increase, and the more people use
It's like a zip file instead of a block.
Right.
Something like that, yeah. But everyone needs to use SegWit for that to work. If everyone actually used SegWit, that 1 megabyte block that I download has 4 megabytes worth of transactions. So that's immediately a 4x, right? On top of that, it fixes a bug to make Lightning Network easier to program. And all of the SegWit transactions will give us the runway for another few years. After that, the Lightning Network is fully integrated, and now you don't have to worry about scaling anymore. In fact, the miners didn't want the Lightning Network because it would make transactions too cheap for them, because they profit from transaction fees.
Sure. 602-264-2800, and now Ernest Hammond.
Yeah, nothing happened in the chart since yesterday, guys. There's nothing interesting.
What? All right, this is what we're gonna do. Second second letter of Captain Mark. The first one was, hey man, you can suck it, and I raise my black banner and kiss my ass and I'll be gone. And then what's the second one going to be? Number 2. What should number 2? We say we're going to cryptocurrency, or digital currency, or I got a spaceship and I want to haul around gold currency. I need to have fast transaction of doing. I got quantum communication. I got subspace communications that's instantaneous between here and Mars. And now what? A lot of people know quantum communication is going to be, subspace communication, Star Trek-y kind of, quantum Chinese year ago, July, or was it this last July? They put up a quantum satellite, instantaneous communication faster than the speed of light. You even know this exists? You can't do that. Did it. Already did it. So cryptocurrency is going to be what? Intergalactic? I mean, it could be.
Sending Bitcoin to the Delta Quadrant.
Delta Voyager needed a currency, okay? Now, here we go. Any observer, I'm going to read the second letter, Captain Mark. They'll tell you come in. I'll do one paragraph at a time. You make your comments.
Sure. And just for my audience, so you guys have a spaceship that's going around the planet, can leave the atmosphere. It's libertarian like style spaceship. And you guys
seasetting,
right,
precarious.
Everything on a giant spaceship
Whatever.
is 1,000 feet long, and you have a currency on that spaceship, and this is the letter explaining it.
Well, yeah, the idea is that whatever currency is going to win is going to have
Pirate.
to prepare for this because this is inevitable.
Right. It's,
Correct.
You have a year after we started doing this. Oh, heck, it wasn't even a year. It's like 6 months. Sergey Brin from Google bought a big giant hangar. It was at Northern California or Southern Oregon or something. And he's building his own airship right now. You're not hearing about it. What hell happened to Larry Page? He's going to be docking his flying cars inside Sergey's blimp, or his airship. And I go, this is after I go, here it comes. You go in a Google image search or any image search, and you go airships. It'll blow up all over the place. They, them, those that won't leave us alone. Who are they? There are those that just want to be left alone and those that just won't leave you alone. And they, them, those that won't leave us alone, they don't want you to get out of their grasp. They don't want you to go. So no matter what we say, they always got a GPS coordinates of your front door. And I'm going, yeah, but what if my front door moves? And in space, then what? Ion cannons!
Let's go through a letter. Let's go through a letter.
All right.
Let's go through a letter.
Second letter, Captain Mark. Any observer can see that communication without censorship or surveillance is essential to the enterprise of freedom. And any pirate knows that commerce is a form of communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single data point, price. Buyers and sellers use prices to make countless decisions and speculations. When this ecosystem is free to operate, humanity flourishes. But humanity suffers when the crown intervenes in the free exchange of property, services, or speech. Do I get any disagreement on that statement?
No, but I have a question.
Right.
It's a 1,000-foot spaceship. Approximately how many people on average are there on any given day?
Don't know, bunch.
Give me a
I
guess.
don't know, hundreds.
100,000.
No, 100
Too
in
many.
crew and passengers be a bunch. It's Serenity writ large, and we take cargo and.
Give me a number.
people.
1,000 people.
I don't know.
I think the Enterprise
Who
D
cares?
is 2,000 people. Why don't we just
2,000
say
people.
that?
2,000
We'll stick with Star Trek. 2,000 people. How many languages do you expect these people to speak?
I have no idea.
Dozens.
Dozens. Okay. That's not very efficient, right?
Don't care.
Like
Well, efficient for what purpose? It might be
commerce,
really efficient
life.
It might be really efficient if the point is to translate ancient manuscripts.
Yeah, no, they're going to have universal translators. Hell, I got live translating with Skype now. What the hell? You think we don't have translators?
Right, but
What's your point?
My point is, it would be more efficient if everyone on that ship spoke the same language, right?
If the point is for everyone to communicate.
Yeah, if that's the point. What if they just want to be left alone? I don't want to speak your language. I don't want you to understand mine. I stay in my area of the ship, and you can suck it. Now what?
If they don't speak anybody else's language, how are they going to participate in commerce and live on the ship?
Maybe they don't want to. Maybe they just want to live on the ship. What do you care? What is your point?
What if they, my point is, efficiency will have everyone speaking the same language, and efficiency
Probably,
will have
eventually,
one currency on that
maybe.
ship.
No, I don't think so. I mean, like, maybe that would technically be more more efficient, but that's not the way markets behave.
That's not
Like,
catalactics.
it would
The
be way more
catalactic of it
efficient.
is their value of being able to be there is not because they can speak the same language as somebody.
It would be way more
Whoa.
efficient if everybody ate the same food and watched the same television too, but you don't.
Everything a
want that.
body needs just come out the gruel out of the pipe.
No,
more
that's not
efficient.
true. It's more efficient if everyone is understanding in the same language what's
Okay,
on the
so
television.
what is your point? All right, that doesn't have
Okay,
anything to
okay,
do with this. All right,
Okay, go on.
all right. So you're
No complaints.
no complaints. Innovations in communication are erasing borders, circumventing restrictions, and contributing to a growing pool of open source knowledge. The dauntless experimentation of this emergent decentralized ecosystem has made it possible for individuals to form peer-to-peer associations across vast distances outside the scrutiny of the crown. This paradigm shift signals a change in the coin of the realm.
Okay, keep going.
That's kind of like what you're saying, that if I'm communicating with people in Japan and the United States and Japan have different fiat currencies, that signals that in spite of the crown, in spite of these governments and what they say we should use, the two of us are going to try and find.
Doesn't matter.
We both agree
Shifting
with.
the change in the coin of the realm.
Does
There's
that make sense?
boom. Any viable currency must be both liquid and solid. Liquid meaning its ease of use, its divisibility and transferability. Solid meaning the longevity of its value, its preservability and stability. Long ago, markets chose gold. It's solid in that it's scarce, never corrodes, and possesses valuable utility. And it's liquid in that it's divisible without depreciation, making it easy to standardize and exchange.
Right. And my point is that currency is going to be Bitcoin.
Okay, well, I mean, you agree with this statement?
Yeah,
Like,
I agree with
you got
that,
it
yes.
needs to be liquid and solid.
Yes,
it needs
I
to
agree
be.
with that.
It needs to hold its value. It needs to be
I
able to
agree
be
with that. I
divisible
agree with
without
that.
depreciation. You know, that's
So-
a definition of money.
Absolutely.
Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies have really succeeded at liquidity. Like they are way better than fiat currencies at being like mobile, but they have not been terribly solid in the sense that the price is stable. But that I think on my
But the fact that it even has a price is,
Yeah.
you know, is,
My-
it wins.
my
On a
speculation-
long-term scale, it's been upward sloping, which is good for us.
Doesn't matter.
Well,
See, my
my-
thing is
my-
if I go in and out of whatever, and I just using Bitcoin, and I keep saying this, it's my silver moving tool. That's it.
Sure.
You know, you know what it's worth? I don't know. I get this much in silver, and I'm going to get probably within 5% of that much of silver when I cash it and make the transfer in Planet X.
So
I
it's
mean,
a
you
little
know.
bit like a housing bubble. Like the fact that it is constantly upward sloping is good for us, and I'm glad that I make money at it. But it is not necessarily good as a function of a currency. And what I'm hoping and what longevity I think would want is that what we're witnessing is price discovery, not constant appreciation. Like,
And we will not
want-
have price discovery until you have mass adoption by the grandma just button. Not because some fiat says, not because the crown tapped you on the shoulder and said you're allowed, not because it's GovCoin, not because when people start using it, and that will overwhelm any of these controls that they have on it. You know, there's all kinds of manipulations of stuff, but eventually when people are in the market and they overwhelm the interest in the market of the bankers or the, you know, the insiders or whatever the hell, then you find the price discovery.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a
Okay, when we come back, we'll keep going on the ladder.
So I just believe, and it's my speculation, that in the long term, the price will stabilize.
Well, you don't really necessarily want it to stabilize. You want it to slowly appreciate in value. And because Bitcoin only has 21 million Bitcoins, it can do that. Now, to me, all of the other crypto are inflation on top of Bitcoin.
Yeah,
There
sort
are
of.
lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast
Meaning there's
is
more
more
digital
assets
units out there to trade.
Right, and it's just inflation. So have you read the book, The Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean? I strongly recommend it. And it explains why silver can never be money again. And he's a Austrian economist. And I mean, that was great for me to read because look, I have silver in my vault just like I have gold in my vault, right? And I wish he had that book out before I started buying my silver, because I would have never bought it. Okay, and here's what he explains. You know, the historical ratio of gold to silver used to, in price
17 to 1 or
used to be like 4 to 1, and then it's 17 to 1, which is their mining ratio of 17 to 1. But now it's like 80 to 1.
Yeah.
right? And it keeps rising. And he explained why that is. He explained that back in the day, silver was the micropayment of gold. You couldn't buy your cup of coffee,
Right.
you couldn't
It's
buy
the
your
Lightning
bread.
Network of gold.
The
That's
light,
the point I was
exactly.
trying to
But in the 20th century, gold became backed by fiat currency.
Right.
And the fiat currency became the Lightning Network of gold. So now, if the government never got off the gold standard, you can pay for that cup of coffee with pennies, right, that are backed by gold. So silver had lost all of its monetary value because it was no longer needed because of technology as a micropayment. And that's why that ratio keeps blowing out.
Per se, it's fiat, but yeah.
Well,
it's declaration.
The banks
Well,
had
no,
their
it is
own
technology,
currencies.
right? Because it's and now
Each bank has their own
right,
dollar.
no, but imagine if we were still on the gold standard, but we're all using our digital dollars in our phone. We can subdivide that gold coin almost infinitely and use it for micropayments.
Right.
And that's why silver is going away.
Yeah.
And the only value silver will have is as a collectible and as a like industrial metal. But silver as money, I think, is gone forever until we go back to the dark ages of no electricity and no internet.
Sure. So I used to write before Bitcoin. I wrote for a thing called the Silver Circle blog, which was like a silver currency, alternative currency movie blog thing, right? And I wrote an article called Sci-Fi Money, where I basically made that same argument that what currency needs is liquidity. Digital data transfer is going to become the role of silver in a sci-fi money. And I kind of talked about like flat, what is it? Gold pressed platinum. I use the Ferengi currency as a model.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm making the same
Right.
point.
So, and it's the same thing for me with all other cryptos besides Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is still the best store of value across all cryptos. Is this debatable at this table?
You mean it's the most stable?
It's the
probably
most,
the most
right.
stable.
So to me,
Only by comparison.
to
But
other
that's all you
cryptos,
have is
yes,
comparison.
yes.
All you have is
Yes.
comparison.
Right. It's the most stable to other cryptos. So Bitcoin is the best store of value amongst cryptos. Agreed?
Amongst
right now.
cryptos.
Amongst cryptos, Bitcoin is the best store of value.
Meaning it's the most solid.
Correct. It's the one that if I told you, if I handed you right now $10,000 and I said you cannot touch it for the next 5 years, you can put $10,000 into Bitcoin
right, here
or
we go.
$20,000 into any other crypto. What will you take?
Get ready.
I don't know. I guess, yeah, Bitcoin makes the most sense. I don't expect it to do twice as well.
Over 5 years?
Yeah. But that's speculation.
Speculation on the technology.
What a feeling! You got some actual factual information. We're going to yak about it here with Tone Avay. Tonebay. That's a dog. All right. Man, we're going at it. All right. And we have a lot of overlap here, but, all this is going to be moot when it just kind of, and we're there. And it's done. And it happens again. Because we had this discussion over a year ago when all this was happening, and Tone, got out his juggling kit and, went to town. And I'm like, wow, okay, well, we'll see if he's using the same balls when we get to the next time, because the next time be a coming. All right. So now we're going, let's see, we did that's divisible without depreciation, and so on. Then we get to the fourth paragraph of the second letter of Captain Mark. Today, they've got to pay attention, Tone, you got to answer to this. Today, the Crown produces a fraudulent paper currency and mandates its use. It makes up for paper being less solid by making it more liquid. Constant inflation depreciates the value, while an ecosystem of privateers compete to extend the life of the lie. Central banks. Credit cards and online payment systems transfer huge sums of digital wealth that was never even printed. But like any skullduggery, it's only successful until the mark wises up and collapse becomes a mathematical certainty. Anything you disagree with that?
Well, no, I don't disagree with it. I just want, I mean, I'm here to explain to you why Bitcoin fits your definition.
We'll get to that. We're getting,
and not
we're
other
getting there.
cryptos.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're still talking about fiat currency.
Yeah, the fiat, credit cards, online payments, and think, well, we need a digital.
Yeah, I
What do
agree
you
with
think credit cards are?
I agree with that.
In your terms, essentially what that's saying is that PayPal and credit cards and all these digital ways of digitizing the dollar is like a lightning network for fiat currency. Right? Like I don't have to transfer physical dollars to you. I can send you digital signals and then promissory notes for promissory notes for promissory notes.
Right. And if we were still on the gold standard, the ability to use, let's say, PayPal and Google Pay with dollars backed by gold, that's like the lightning network of gold.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Now, make sure I'm in the right place. Okay. Class becomes a mathematical certainty. Now, the Crown uses digital currency as a new tool of predation, granting it unprecedented power to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy our wealth at will. The Crown invades servers, seizes records, intercepts signals, and freezes accounts. So the currency of pirates must possess features to defend against this weaponized money. And my point is that weaponized money is what Bitcoin is becoming. The compliance technology and all the comply, we got comply and demand comply, is weaponized money and exactly what I feared it would be.
And I'm here again, like I am every 3 months, to explain to you why your understanding of Bitcoin is wrong and backwards.
Well, this
I'm not saying
is not
Bitcoin.
about Bitcoin. This paragraph is about the digital dollar.
Yeah.
This is
Well,
about the
Well, it's also
the regulated financial system.
I don't want Bitcoin to become this. It
I'm
invades
with you.
servers, seizes
I'm
records,
with you.
intercepts signals,
I'm
freezes
with you.
accounts.
So
I'm
They
with
can't.
you.
Can they freeze an account on
I'm with you.
Bitcoin?
So-
Yeah,
No.
if you're on Bittrex, they sure as hell
But
can.
that's not
agree-
Bitcoin.
We all agree this
I
paragraph.
know. That's my point.
We all,
People need to understand this.
we all agree that this paragraph describes the digital dollar, right?
Well,
You don't disagree
digital-
with that?
Digital dollar and currency,
I'm talking to Tom.
anything under their control.
Well, no. Well, see, here's the difference, right? You're right. It does apply to the digital dollar, but to me, it also applies to all other cryptos other than Bitcoin,
No,
which is
God, make that connection.
which includes Bitcoin Cash, right? To me,
Of course.
that applies to Bitcoin Cash as well.
Okay, so read the.
Can they freeze accounts?
Can they freeze it?
They will eventually because they're way more
Either
centralized
they
and trending
can-
in the wrong
Either
direction.
they can or they cannot freeze accounts.
Not
They
to-
can seize records, they intercept signals, they invade servers. If they can do that, then it's just weaponized money.
Well,
Well,
this is the question.
well,
Is it
again,
that they can't,
actually,
or
they
is it
can.
that we're trusting them not to?
Well, no, actually they can. They just put in checks. They put in those in order to prevent Craig Wright from destroying their coin. They did whatever the hell they wanted to the code and put in checks. So now
So they couldn't freeze accounts.
right. Oh, but they put those in. But if they can put those in, they can put in checks to freeze account. Like the point is, like they had the ability to do whatever the hell they wanted to the code. And once you have the ability to do whatever you
We
want,
tried
to
to
the code,
get
freeze
you
accounts.
Bitcoin Cash, you
Okay, wait,
deliberately
wait, wait.
ducked.
So this is a feature of cryptocurrency is that the code can only be changed if there is consensus. So the security against manipulations in the code is the pool of people that need consensus large enough and of like-minded enough to not ever allow that. And so if Bitcoin has a larger pool of consensus, it's more difficult to change than Bitcoin Cash where there was a smaller pool of consensus. But the counterpoint is which community is more likely to make those changes. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And
Yeah, and to what end? See, which community do I want to be part of?
Right. And so
Which
when I look
philosophy
at-
do I want to follow? Which one am I going? And if they go dark, go bad, and it becomes weaponized money, then I'm like, screw them. I go next one.
So-
Which is why the letter is written the way it is. It doesn't specify one. You keep saying Bitcoin Cash, and then nowhere does it say any currency in here.
no, I
But it's a
understand that.
concern about Bitcoin Cash and any other cryptocurrency.
Any other.
That has a small, if any currency that has a smaller consensus pool than Bitcoin.
Be used against you. Someone can manipulate and do and take and whatever, and can use your money against you by you not having access to it, by them surveilling it, whatever. That's the point we're making. All right.
It's kind of like saying pirates are like a voting block, and we're bringing our consensus.
Absolutely.
To the network that
You
that
and
does
our
things we want.
I can't tell you how many times I got different, people. Davi and I were on a conference call for over an hour last night with a bunch of, we're doing changing, getting servers of the whatever the hell. And I've got This is coming in 2019, 2019, 20 freaking 19. By 2020, you're going to see Bitcoin's going to survive the popularity of digital currency, or it's not. And it's going to be, well, I guess we kind of lost that battle. We're now, GoldmanSucks.gov coin. I mean, it's good. We're compliant. We're compliant. See, they're not compliant. They're money. It's exactly what Craig Wright was saying. You're just a bunch of pedophile terrorists that are wanting a drug deal. I'm going, and your freaking point.
Yeah, well, Craig Wright wanted to have more control over the cryptocurrency, so he created his own. This is no different to how Bitcoin Cash started, how Dash started, how everything
started.
No,
Satoshi
no.
had more control over a currency than the Federal Reserve allowed him.
See, that's
so
the
he
thing.
launched his own.
No, Satoshi didn't want control.
Well, he didn't do it because
That's why he was anonymous and he left and it's decentralized.
Well, he programmed it though. He launched it after.
Yeah, for him, because what he wanted.
His control.
He just needed everybody else to participate and get what he wanted.
And then he had people voluntarily accept the system he established.
He didn't do it because he didn't want it.
Everyone who launches a cryptocurrency does so because they
want something
that's different than.
No, I absolutely disagree with that.
Satoshi launched it because he did what somebody else wanted.
Everyone that launches an altcoin wants full control over the currency, no different than the U.S. government.
Yeah, they do it for whatever they want, for whatever reasons they want.
Right, and this is why there's always this like hot moment in every altcoin where when are you going to take your hands off the wheel, right? Like everyone has their hands on the wheel at the beginning and promises they're going to take their hands off the wheel, whereas Satoshi launched a piece of software with no hands on the wheel.
Yeah, it's like Noah from Decentralized Thought. He goes, these are non-starters for me. If they do this, they pre-mine that, they got this, they did. There's just, all it doesn't matter the tech, doesn't matter, he's got his own philosophical bent on what, he determines is important. So I'm going, okay. So last time I had Noah on, it was just like early December or something. And I said, the next time we talk, I want to talk about exchanges because I can see that's where the man's coming. It's going to be, you're not allowed to do it. So what is going to happen? You're going to see a big push on Bitcoin being, hey, we're compliant with demand because we're the only ones that can be exchanged. We're the only ones that can do without a Hellfire missile. We're going after you're not allowed to exchange it and participate in the traditional banking system. And I wasn't in this space for that.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct
Okay, when we
response,
come back,
cost.
we'll go to In Another Age. We melted. We'll get to that part. And then last one. And then we'll do, because you don't see nothing in here about any particular currency intentionally.
No, I know.
We're like, I don't give a shit which one does it.
No, I
just do it.
I know, Ernie.
We still got to talk about examples.
Ernie, I come on this show to try to convince you to be on the right side of history.
Which is what?
Which is Bitcoin.
Which means why?
Because
I don't give a shit what you call it. Why am I on there? What's it going to do? Be more compliant?
Because it's less compliant. Because it's less people in control. You made a great point about the pool of consensus. The pool of consensus on Bitcoin Cash is tiny. The pool of consensus to put in checks into the code was non-existent.
But
the pool of consensus
the size of Bitcoin Cash, participation now is what year on Bitcoin? 13, 15, 2016. I mean, when was Bitcoin legitimate then? See, you compare something, going, that don't mean shit to me. You know how many people, they didn't even heard of Bitcoin? So I'm going, so was Bitcoin legitimate in 12? Was it in 14?
It's not about being legitimate. It's about being what you want. It's about following a currency that fits what's in that letter.
Thank you. Exactly what it's about.
And you're not following a currency that fits to your definition of a perfect currency.
The first thing is that I can use it.
You are,
and that the transactions aren't,
my problem is this.
Fee is more than what I'm spending.
You're talking the right stuff, but the thing on your wall is the wrong thing.
But really, when Bitcoin survives this next influx, then you can tell me about it.
There won't be another influx.
But there's not going to be a demand for crypto?
There's going to be a huge demand for Bitcoin, and I'm hoping that it survives it. But the reason why you ran into that problem was because it got too popular.
Oh, my God. That was the stress test right there. And we talked about that when it happened. I go, we're going to find out. Can it survive it? Then you go Bitcoin Cash. Can it survive it? Yeah, it did. They cheated.
Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, you go, they cheated.
Of course they did.
They deliberately done it, and they did
you own
what do you call it? What do
Ernie,
they do?
Ernie, you own the restaurant, right?
It.
You own the restaurant. When your if or when your restaurant got so popular that you had a bunch of people lined up out the door, what did you expand the restaurant? You open a second.
I had a restaurant. You lose customers that way. You increase your capacity. It's popular. You're going, fine. Well, you could be this boutique little Italian restaurant over there, and somebody else is going to, get the vast majority and be McDonald's.
And that's what Bitcoin did. Like basically, Bitcoin has made that restaurant 8 times bigger over a year ago, and you're complaining that you still can't get into that restaurant when you could for free.
No, I'm saying we're going to find out whether you can, because you got chains. You could go, fast food, or you could be freaking chain of, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
So basically,
whatever.
The restaurant you were going to started getting a big line. You went to a crappier restaurant. That restaurant expanded greatly, and you refuse to acknowledge that the better restaurant has greatly expanded.
Hold on a second. Everybody wants to rule the world. Okay? Yep. Somebody, my world, freaking my world, I'm going to rule my world. My world is my world and mine. Damn it. Or it's somebody else's.
More like every world has somebody that wants to rule it.
Yeah. Mostly me. My world. Guess what? My world's sitting in this chair, my body inside and mine, and none of your business. It's mine. In another age, we melted the crown's coin, and minted our own. That's what pieces of 8 were. They just melted down, whatever, and they had their own pieces of 8. In another age, we melted the crown's coin and minted our own.
There's a way of hiding the source. Like if they're not marked by the Spanish crown, then nobody knows where it's
right. It's divisible and fungible and kind of bite me. We met in private spaces and traded in secret. But in space, physical money requires tremendous fuel to transport. Digital signals are weightless and can be easily sent to frontier settlements. In a digital economy, piracy requires a new currency that is peer-to-peer without third-party observation that can be exchanged using an encrypted signal. It must combine the solidity of precious metals and the fluidity of digital information. We must move funds further, faster, and cheaper than ever before, and make decisions based on an ever-accelerating flow of information. So, pirates require virtually instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. It must endure as a decentralized network in the face of an adversary that wishes to crimp it into service. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the crown. Given the choice, a superior currency with these features will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the crown itself. It's nothing less than that, Tone.
There's a sense in which cryptocurrency does this. A blockchain by its very nature is third-party observation. It's a ledger.
Yeah, but it doesn't. If it's anonymous, it doesn't tie you to that.
Okay, you have a big problem with what you just read.
Of course you.
And the big problem is technological because we don't have unicorns, right? I mean, they're magical creatures.
Maybe you don't have unicorns.
I got plenty of unicorns. Right under my desk, right here.
So
and a pony.
Right. So Ernie, so you wanna you want to send data across space and time between spaceships, and you want it to be free and instant. And that is that's technologically impossible, right? And this is the point. So if you're going to do what you're trying to do you know what helps you get there? The smallest block possible. Because you got to send that data to somebody else, and you want to send it over big distances. So you want that block.
You're the only transaction going to the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah.
So
See, I'm saying faster and cheaper.
Right.
It's a comparison. I'm not saying free.
Right. Well, fine.
But it requires, you know, no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, exactly. So that's actually impossible. It's impossible. What you want is technologically impossible.
Arbitrary?
Right.
I vote not arbitrary.
It's like
you have to have arbitrary, then I use the next coin. Next. Give me another one
this
that's
is the
not
problem.
arbitrary.
But, and the next
Give me another one that's not arbitrary.
But here's the thing. The next coin is going to promise you that they can solve the problem, and they're lying to you.
Yeah, there is no such thing as no limit on volume. Like, if there is a block size of any kind, that's...
But arbitrary is when somebody just picks it, not because of a technological limitation or what's possible, it's because somebody just decided. And I'm going, that's arbitrary.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
to some
But they
extent,
decided
Satoshi was arbitrary.
they didn't.
No, to begin with, he was never about limit. Satoshi was like, yeah, it's going to need to be increased. Increase it.
Right. And
Peace out.
Right, because he was incorrect.
Okay, well, you know.
Right.
But
all
where
right.
he said it at the beginning was arbitrary because he had no
Yeah,
sense of
absolutely.
how big
Arbitrary.
the market was going to be.
He was like, let the
And-
market decide.
Right.
And then Blockstream said, no, we're not going to let the market decide.
No. Blockchain didn't say anything. He decided because smart people started helping him with Bitcoin code, and they explained to him why you can't have an infinite block size limit, because his dream of having a decentralized currency, the one that you described,
But it's sure
in
as
your letter,
shit more
Ernie,
capacity than 1 megabyte from 10 years ago. Are you kidding me?
Ernie, absolutely not. That's not true. But like I said, there are very smart people that are arguing that a 1 megabyte is too big. It's too big for what Satoshi wanted to create and everything that you described. Because the bigger the block, the more centralized it becomes, and all of your dreams.
So you want it to be side chains?
Well, I mean, to some extent.
You want it off the main
It's not
chain.
It's not what I want. It's about what technology allows to give you everything in that letter.
Well, you're talking about a tension between two different pressures, and anything that you choose between these two things is kind of arbitrary. Like, why 1 megabyte and not half a megabyte?
I want it faster and cheaper. Pick. Make it where it's unsurveilled. There's no third-party observation. It's instantaneous. Give me that. Boom. Next.
So
you hash this and do that and quantum whatever. Don't care.
So start looking into Lightning because it's what you want. It's not fully ready for commercial use yet. Maybe another 6 months.
God, man, I heard that. 6 months, 3 months, next month, year.
It's way closer now than it was 6 months ago.
God, I hope.
It's advancing quickly.
Well, I see. I'm not a fan of off-chain, side-chain anyway. I mean, that's like a non-starter for me. I don't want. I mean, what's the point of having a blockchain? Because it doesn't settle. I know what happens. It evolves into what happened with the stock market. You know this. That's why. But I'm a fan of 3-day waiting. I get the naked short sell of kind of I make me some money. I know. The entire bureaucracy was created around this delay, which is why Patrick Byrne did the T0. The transaction is the settlement. And if you go sidechain, the transaction is not the settlement on the blockchain. It's not. It's made to not be.
Well, Ernie, it's not settlement on the Bitcoin blockchain, but it is settlement you can't just take back. There's no middleman, right? Just because it doesn't.
Who decides when it settles?
Just because it hasn't been imprinted into the Bitcoin blockchain.
Who decides when that happens?
The miners. Or when the Lightning channel is closed. Just because your transaction did not settle to the blockchain doesn't mean it doesn't hold the properties of peer-to-peer, doesn't mean it doesn't hold the property of censorship resistant, unconfiscatable. All of those properties that you care about can still exist through a side chain.
I tell you exactly. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Bitcoin
I'm going to describe for the people before we run out of time, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. It's going to be like you're trading on NASDAQ, you're trading on the commodities market, you're trading on New York Stock Exchange, you're trading on it's a different chain. It's a different
It's a-
settlement. It's like on this, until you settle in your
But
bank
there's no
account,
middleman.
it's not settled.
But there's no middleman. You're describing middleman things. That's a terrible comparison. You cannot compare Lightning to the NASDAQ because the NASDAQ is a middleman
I
and Lightning
don't
has no middleman.
decide when it settles on the chain.
You could if you control that Lightning channel. If you're not lazy, you control the Lightning channel. You can close it at any time. and
Which
settle
has
it.
to have enough preloaded Bitcoin in order to make transactions.
Correct.
It has to be on there to do it. If I go
Yeah, you
and try and make a pizza on a chain, if they didn't have enough on there, it doesn't work.
It's like you have to have money to spend.
Yeah, you got to have it. It's like you got to have it. Might as well call it a savings account.
Don't you
And that's
always have to have
exactly
money
where.
to spend
And that's
money?
exactly where Know Your Customer and KYC and what do you call it? Anti-money laundering is going to come in. They're going to go on these side chains on the Lightning Network. They're going to see that we need to know who that
But
is.
you don't have
We
to
need
use
to know the
those.
KYC.
But you don't have
We
to
need to know
use
who
those.
that. Well, then anytime your solution is that I got to put my ankles up to my ears and tell Uncle Sam to do me.
But you can choose which Lightning nodes to use, and you can use them anonymously.
And they're all going to be in compliance with, or they're not going to be able. They're going to be under surveillance. You're not allowed. It's going to be white and black Bitcoin and blah blah blah.
No,
blah,
but that's
blah.
not true at all.
All right, we're going to find out. I tell you, the biggest thing that I'm looking for is the when it does go to there, out of necessity. I guarantee who's going to
Out of
fund it up. It's going to be a central bank.
Out
And we
of
fund it.
technological necessity, yes.
Okay,
Out of technological
that's right.
limits.
Because Bitcoin can't handle the transaction.
But no other
quantity.
blockchain can. That's why it's. That's
We're
why
gonna
it's done
find
this
out.
way. They're lying to
We're
you.
gonna
when they
find
tell you
out.
They could.
We're going to find out. Find out. See, that's one thing about history is that you know after it happens. It's done. We're going to keep going. We got the streaming going. You go to freemansphoenix.com and you see on the left there, go down a couple inches and you'll see the block there below the Roberts ad that has the current Bitcoin and gold and silver prices. You go below that and you'll see a live streaming option there. You click on that, boom, you get all the video and conversation, everything. In the after show, we'll go a little while until, Tone wins something. We'll be right back. All right, there, we can yak it. Whoa. It's going to be so simple. Either there is or there is not going to be a demand for crypto based on whatever the hell happens with the petrodollar, because that's going to happen. There's going to be, get me the F out. I'm Venezuela. Okay. Get me something. And what happened? Here you have a state-sponsored crypto, as flawed as the petro is or whatever, Venezuela. But if it's so bad, why Trump goes, nope, you're banned from no U.S. Nobody can, you're not allowed. And I go, the hell does he care? Why did he even do that? Well, they're going to get money and they get to, have more. Or something. I don't care. So then we have, they're saying you government services and taxes, you got to pay in the crypto. You want to get our oil, you got to do it in the crypto. So I'm going, wow, we're going to see how that experiment goes. Then you have here in Arizona, they do legislation all over making, it's a big sandbox for the crypto guys. And you can pay your taxes all over the country. They're going to pay your taxes in crypto. How do they do that? Because somebody said they could. Somebody's in control. Somebody paid a little degrees of something. Legislators got, because they do not do this unless they got permission from the man. And the man wants it to happen. And that is the only reason that it's happening. Why? Because they know it's coming. And there's just nothing, they don't have a choice. It's coming. It's coming. And as much as those can get their fingers in and control of and surveillance with, they're going to do it. And they've been chasing Eric Voorhees ever since I've known him. He starts with Satoshi Dice. He sells it to Calvin Ayre. I didn't even know that. I'm checking. I'm going, really? Holy crap, man. The guy's been, all right, I see what's going on. Then the SEC with that and with, because whatever he said, because, Eric Voorhees is like, the man can suck it. And they don't like that. So then they do the bid instant thing. And, we get like, Eric told me, he goes, yeah, they were using some verbiage on your show. They got, transcript from, me being on your show, Ernie, and said this about that. And man, you owe us $60,000 of get out of jail free card or something. And he's like, I got to be careful what I say. And I go, yeah, of course you do. Well, what they don't like, the fact that you going, the man sucks. So then, and he's pretty clear about that. So he hadn't, toned it back or anything. So as a pun. So then he goes in and he says, I pay your fine, bid instant. We did that silver thing. They arrest Charlie. He gets out. He goes to Panama. He goes to Panama and he says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Panama, and I'm going to supply services for people with these like billion, I think it's like a billion, some ridiculous, hundreds of millions of, it's a lot of these Nokia flip phones. They just bamboo because they were doing trading cell phone minutes. In Kenya, it was 40% of their gross domestic product. GDP trading in cell phone minutes. How many minutes for this egg? How many, eggs do I get for this minute? A cell phone. They were trading using flip phones, trading minutes. And he goes, hey man, if I do Coinapult, and we have to where we could be a trusted third party, which it was not his ideal. He understood the risk, but it turned flip phones into the capability of sending text messages to do Bitcoin transactions. So he goes, we can help and do an account with that account. So he starts that, and they didn't like it none too much for whatever reason. He doesn't do that anymore. Then he goes Shapeshift. Shapeshift, I'm in Switzerland. I do a Shapeshift. I can open a bill. I go, well, what permission? He goes, hey, it doesn't matter. They just, you open a business.
But it matters.
They open a business. They don't have a law against what we were doing because we were not dealing in fiat. So he got away with it for as long as he got away with it until
he got big.
Exactly, until the man showed him their Hellfire missiles, and you're not allowed.
Right.
So then they come in and said, oh, you're not, we say you're not allowed. And you got to comply with. So they've been chasing him. Satoshi Dice, BitInstant, Coinapult, Shapeshift. Where is Eric now? I'm sure he's off doing something. He's got his own dark side of the moon base of crypto, kiss my ass, building his own damn ship. So I'm going, but the philosophy is still there, which is what Roger does. Roger and Eric are the two people that I see as leading the charge on the right philosophy and the reasons behind it. And the only, but you may be a pirate, but you're riding on the king's road. Yeah,
Ernie,
I'm a pirate.
Ernie,
again,
Ernie.
Well, why wouldn't I?
Ernie, again, you're saying the right things. You see what's happening.
Yes, of course I see.
But here's what I'm trying to explain to you. What happened to Eric can happen to Roger.
Of course it. What the hell do you think was happening?
Ernie, listen. What happened to Eric can happen to Roger. The way the government showed up to Eric Voorhees and said, you better start identifying every one of your customers that's using crypto. And he had no choice. He's got two options. He can get rid of the company, close the he can close the company, he can sell the company to someone else like he did with Satoshi Dice, or he can start KYCing his customers and identifying them to the man, in order to comply and keep his business.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is the same exact thing can happen to Roger, only Roger's business is BCH, the thing on your wall, because it is so centralized that the government, I believe, can show up and force him to identify everyone. And this is the difference between Bitcoin. Well, we're going to
find out. They can. That's a test. Just like when the transactions killed Bitcoin as a currency. It's fucking not a currency if it does it again. I guarantee it.
And what I'm saying is every single cryptocurrency besides Bitcoin has the risk of a government showing up and telling three people what they have to do.
The difference
and they will get it done or they're going to jail.
The difference with Eric, I'm glad you got the crown on your side, Tone. The one thing that I'm looking at, Eric, they go to Eric, they go to Lava Bit, and what was the guy in Lava Bit? What was that guy's name?
I don't know. The Lava Bit guy. Yeah. I forgot his name, but yeah, it's Edward Snowden's email thing. Yeah.
Right. So Lava Bit, the man shows up and they go, guess what? You're identifying all the people that are using your, Proton mail or your secret mail or your whatever mail, encrypted mail. You're doing it. Oh, and this Patriot Act thing, it says you can't tell anybody that we're doing it, or you're going to jail. And he goes, let me think for a second. And I shut it down.
He deleted all the email. Yeah.
And he just deleted. It's done. It's over. Now what? Right. And they go, well, you like impeded an investigation of kind of, you're not allowed to kind of whatever. I ain't done. I got a button. Let me show you how to do that.
I'm with you.
Ernie. So what happens is you do the same thing to Eric, and they go, you are going to give us all the people that he goes, I don't have that information. I don't have anything. There is nobody. I never kept it. I don't know what it is. You want me to do this in the future? Okay, fine. I'm warning you. Hey, anybody does this, you're going to be outed.
Ernie, why do you promote I mean, again, these people are great. They're pushing the issue. They're pushing the
That
envelope.
issue, the principle.
The principle. They're pushing the
And
principle.
your principle is it works
Ernie,
and complies.
Ernie, they're pushing the
Man's got
principle.
missiles.
They're pushing the principle, and the principle always ends the same way. The government comes in and screws the people and screws the project.
If they can.
Right, and I'm saying
If
is,
they can, they
Ernie,
are. Guaranteed.
Ernie, and what I can't get through into your head, that the only project in the world that they can't is Bitcoin.
I think I get it. He's not saying he thinks Roger is going to centralize Bitcoin Cash and make it into the Federal Reserve. He's saying that as long as it's structured the way that it is, Roger is a single point of failure if the Crown decides to hijack it.
Correct.
We're going to find out. I don't think he is. I mean, why would we not find out? You think, because how many times do I say,
Find out
how
because they're not going after him at the moment.
how many times have I said on this show, if they can maintain, enhance, expand
Right.
their intrusiveness and control over the individual for their benefit, if they can, they are.
Right, but you're
They sure as
saying-
shit want to.
With these other projects, you're saying, hey, they went after the creator, and what did the creator do? He didn't comply. He shut it down. And so therefore, like, compliance is not mandatory. You can get away with it. But if you do that, your cryptocurrency is gone. Like,
Yep.
you're basically saying if the state goes after it, your cryptocurrency is gone.
Yep.
That's not what I want. I want a cryptocurrency that keeps
They
going
want it to
after
be
the
under their
founder is gone.
control or it's gone. So is there one that is, so then you get like Monero. And I'm going, yeah, but Monero's wallets, it just doesn't have the grandma adjust button that's a pain in the ass. So for me, of course I could have, hell, I got, my miners go into my, paper wallet. I got paper wallets. Who's going to come get it? I got Casacious coin. Who controls that?
Right, there's also a single person, actually the guy that created it. There's actually a single, which is true. He
Yeah,
could've-
Casacious coin
he
was
could've
not
kept
the
the
most
co-
secure.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there, but
I trusted he didn't, but,
But it was
I
just
have
a
one of those
proof
as well.
concept. It was more
Right.
like performance art than
Right.
anything.
And they shut him down.
Yeah, they
They
did.
of course they did.
Because
Hell, they arrested, at TSA line, they got Davi
Right.
pulled over because
Right.
he had,
Casacious coin.
Bitcoin
Ernie,
freaking
you're right.
poker chips.
Ernie, you're right. You always say if they can shut it down, they will. And I'm telling you, they can shut down Bitcoin Cash.
Okay, so why are you so got this fetish on Bitcoin Cash? Is that it's like you're exposing your threat to what you want or something?
I'm
You're
trying
elevating them to a status that I don't think you want to.
because I'm trying to explain to people that Bitcoin Cash is what
Who
you're
gives a
supposed
shit?
to hate.
I don't care
Oh
about
my
Bitcoin
God.
Cash.
But you do.
Why do you keep going on about Bitcoin Cash? I just did the
you
letter.
Because you prefer it to Bitcoin, and
Yes.
it goes against everything
Yes.
you should believe in.
Yes, and I'm wrong. I'm right. Doesn't matter.
You're wrong. That's the
Okay,
point.
so what? You'll see Bitcoin Cash on the second letter of Captain Mark. It's these traits right here. I specifically didn't advocate a currency because none of these are doing what I want. Even
I am-
Bitcoin Cash.
I'm not even sure I'm ready to say that I prefer Bitcoin Cash to Bitcoin. They serve different functions to me. It's like stock trading. Like you want to have conservative, reliable investments. and
I
you wanna
want
have
it
volatile
to be
potential.
available when I freaking need it and not worry that it won't be. And Bitcoin has that worry. Already did it. Didn't change anything to make it different, but we pinky swear, we promise it's going to come, and I'm going to, if the demand hit tomorrow, which it very well could be, freaking tomorrow, it'll crash. What the fuck are you going to do then, Tone? What bullshit are you going to give me then?
It won't crash. I have the confidence that it won't crash. But I have zero confidence.
I won't be able
that
to
the
use
government-
it. I don't give a crap what the cost or price of it is. I want to be able to move it.
And
I would be happy to
Ernie,
move it
Ernie,
at 10,000
Ernie,
as much as when it was at
Ernie,
20.
And do you know what I care about? I care about a currency into the future that fits everything in your letter of Captain Mark. That's what I want. And the only currency that has a chance to do that is Bitcoin, not any other crypto.
I'm not so sure that you could shut down Bitcoin Cash by arresting Roger Ver.
Yeah, what the hell's that have to
that's
do with it?
true. Because it's essentially just it's Bitcoin. It's the Bitcoin protocol with a smaller network. And so, could you have shut down Bitcoin by arresting some miners or arresting whatever in like 2013?
Yeah, how long ago was Bitcoin at a $2 billion market? I mean, I remember when everybody freaked out when it broke 100 million. Then it hit $1 billion.
A smaller network is going to be easier to shut down, but I don't think that it is.
Yeah, quit talking about particular
Ernie,
currency.
can
I got all kinds of different ones that use.
Can I throw one more stat at you?
Go.
Just again, I know I'm gonna
Don't care.
So
Go
when
ahead.
if you go backwards in time, at a time when Bitcoin network, this is back in like 2011, when the Bitcoin network was handling the same number of transactions that Bitcoin Cash is today, the fees were cheaper than Bitcoin Cash fees are today. So you should care.
Why?
Because when Bitcoin was handling the same volume as Bitcoin Cash, the fees were cheaper on Bitcoin. So that means the only reason why your fees on Bitcoin Cash are cheaper today than Bitcoin is an illusion because a lot less people use it. And you don't want to use a currency that less people use.
I don't give a shit. I'm looking at no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. I didn't say what the fees are. I don't give a shit what they are. I don't want arbitrary and artificial limits. That's the point. So you're assuming I care what the number is. I don't care. It's the philosophy behind it.
I mean,
is
part
it
of the
free
reason for
or
that,
not?
It seems like
As in freedom.
if the network size is the same and you want to compare Bitcoin Cash to Bitcoin at the same size, it seems like the reason that the fees would be different now is because the market is different now. Like the goal, the desirable transaction fee for Bitcoin when it was small was 0, and people were very intolerant of virtually any fee whatsoever. Now Bitcoin Cash is competing with the transaction fees of other cryptos. There's now there's a price discovery going on in what a transaction fee is worth.
Because you have exchanges and Shapeshift, all these others that you can do. You know, I got a bunch of money and I'm like freaking don't want to have a transaction fee.
Let me say one.
And the speed of the transaction, Joby Weeks lost $700,000 in a transaction because it didn't go. Did he get hacked?
Actually, no, I'm sorry. Joby Weeks made that because some idiot paid a large fee to his mighty.
No, you're missing. No, you're. No, you're. Yeah,
I can't fry an egg.
Yeah. No. God dang it! Shut the fuck up! I got a button. The point that Joby made on, you know, he comes out with it. He was never a big giant fan of what it doesn't matter. He came out and he goes, I had to send X amount of millions of dollars for purchase of a bunch of mining equipment or whatever it was. And because I couldn't make that transaction, the price of Bitcoin dropped and I lost $700,000 in this multi-million-dollar thing that I did because I couldn't freaking use my money. That's why it cost him.
Well, yeah, good luck sending $700 million with an old coin that has a market cap of $1 billion.
Oh, see, you're doing either I can have access to my money or I can't.
But Ernie, but like you're complaining about something that there is no solution for, right?
Of course there is.
It's like Bitcoin. Here is like Bitcoin is not allowing me to send $3 billion in a transaction.
If I have X amount of Bitcoin, it is mine. It's in my wallet. I wish to take that and move it over here. Nope, sorry. You got to wait 6 hours or 6 days or it's not going to go.
In that scenario,
and it costs a shitload of money.
In that scenario, Joby Weeks had the same amount of Bitcoin and he sent the same amount of Bitcoin and it was his Bitcoin and he could send it. The reason he lost value is because the exchange rate changed.
Yeah, in the time it took him to do it.
Right,
it was not instantaneous.
Right. And the reason
that's the point. You know, what's one of the criteria here? Require virtually instantaneous transactions.
Ernie,
so Bitcoin, when it gets popular, don't have instantaneous transactions. Is that what you're giving up? Yeah, it's popular, it's good, it's a great restaurant. You gotta wait. You gotta wait, Ernie. That's a feature. You know, not a bug.
It's a technological constraint.
It's a
in order to give you those features.
Okay.
Those features
can I require as a customer with a catalactic of my freaking preferences that I have a currency that is all of these things virtually instantaneous? There's no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Not that what that fee is. Now I prefer it be lower, you know, and that's, you know, kind of, I'll go over here because it has lower fees. I have that option. You know, then it doesn't seize my record. It doesn't expose me to demand. It doesn't, you know, have KYC. It doesn't have another link in the chain to the crown. Am I fucking allowed to have these criteria for me?
Yeah,
and either it's going to meet it or it's not. So I'm going next.
Right.
Next.
And Bitcoin is going to meet it. And when
Better get on it.
This is what they're doing, right? And when you promote an inferior version of it, it hurts your listeners.
You don't see a value in competition?
And
What the hell would be pushing Bitcoin to be better if it wasn't for competition? Hell, they'd be worse than what they are now? Shit.
All right, let me throw one more thing at fees at you, right? Here's another thing you probably haven't considered, right? Whether you're using Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin or Monero, it doesn't matter. What currency is that fee in? What currency is that fee calculated in?
I have no idea. Probably Bitcoin.
Well, it's calculated in the currency, in their currency, right? So when you send a Bitcoin transaction, the fee is calculated in Satoshis, right? Satoshis per byte of the size of transaction, right? When you send a BCH transaction, the fee is calculated in the Satoshi version of BCH. Maybe it's called the VR. I don't know.
Satoshi Cash.
Satoshi Cash. Satoshi Cash per byte.
So what are you talking about?
Listen,
You're talking about
listen,
in my wallet, and it has how much the fee
Ernie,
costs
listen, just listen.
of the currency.
Just listen. Ernie, just listen. When you send a transaction,
Wait, just listen. I gotta know what the fuck you're talking about.
I'm trying to
listen.
explain to you. When you send the transaction takes up a certain amount of size in the blockchain.
Yeah, based on how many inputs, right?
Correct. So your transaction has X amount of size. To calculate the fee, the calculation of that fee is done in Satoshis per byte of the size of that transaction. In the case of Bitcoin Cash, it's Bitcoin Cash. Now, in the case of Monero, it's the lowest unit of Monero.
And we had problems with this.
Listen, Ernie.
Bunch of little transactions cost a shitload of money, even though it was $10.
Can you please just listen? Just listen.
You're assuming the audience knows what you're talking about.
I'm trying to explain, but you're interrupting. Okay? Now, the smallest fee that you can possibly pay is 1 Satoshi. You can't go lower than that, right?
At the moment. I mean, you could alter the protocol to include more significant.
You actually can't.
No, you can have a transaction pay you.
No, you actually can't go lower than 1 Satoshi because now you're running into computer science limits as well, right? I learned that one. So there's a reason why Satoshi subdivided into 100 million. There is a computer science limit there, okay? So your fee is calculated in Satoshi per byte. The only way to go lower than that is to just say, you know what, I'm going to be cheap as hell. I'm going to pay 1 Satoshi for that transaction. Now, as the price of Bitcoin goes up, 1 Satoshi is worth more dollars. Right now, 1 Bitcoin is worth 3,000. 1 Bitcoin Cash is worth 130. So by default, 1 Satoshi on Bitcoin is worth 100 times more, or not 100 times more. So it's worth about 30 times more. 1 Satoshi on Bitcoin is worth 30 times more than 1 Satoshi on Bitcoin Cash. So by default, your transaction fee on Bitcoin is going to be 30 times more expensive because the value of 1 Satoshi is 30 times more expensive.
And
if the value of the transaction fee is the same, it doesn't necessarily have to be.
Well, we can go with the lowest transaction fee of 1 Satoshi.
Yeah,
it's going to be 30 times more expensive on Bitcoin. Yeah. Because of the units in which the technology makes it happen. So
I mean, the same would happen with silver and gold.
Okay, this
1 gram of gold is equal to this amount, and 1 gram of silver is equal to this amount. Then paying 1 gram per promissory note as a transaction fee. That you know what I mean?
Yeah, but Bitcoin goes down to 100 million. I mean, we're talking fractions. Like no, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. He's saying 100 millionth of a Bitcoin is 30 times more for that transaction than Bitcoin Cash, simply because 1 Satoshi, is more than whatever. And I'm going, so what? Okay, because when I look at silver, it gets popular, it's demand. Now the fee, it's down for. I remember buying silver dimes for 79 cents under spot, okay, per ounce. And I'm like, whoa, you ain't doing that anymore. So now, because they just get rid of the junk silver, they didn't care. And we had demand for it. All of a sudden it became popular. Now you're paying a premium on it. So now, I go to Robertson and I say, hey, I want some silver. Now the price shot up to like 15, 60, 70 or whatever it is, but depending on demand, it may be less than when it was $13.90 because the per ounce premium on it might be a dollar, where previously it was $2. So what I actually pay for it, it's a floating fee for me getting it, a premium on it. Now on Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, you're going, well, Bitcoin Cash will always, at the very minimum, will be less in a transaction fee capacity, because the minimum you can do is 1 Satoshi, and it's 30, times less than what Bitcoin would be.
Yeah.
And I'm going,
So
yeah,
can
but we're
pay
talking, nano. God, really? Is that?
fractions,
But that's the
fractions,
thing.
fractions.
But Ernie,
Yeah, I mean,
Ernie,
we're down to. Are you?
Ernie,
That's an argument.
But we weren't.
Oh.
When the price of Bitcoin went all the way up to $20, the value of a Satoshi got significantly higher.
Yeah.
You add that,
Significantly by still a fraction of bunch of zeros after a penny.
But it's the same ratio is the point.
right. And,
Okay, and I'm like,
you
how
add-
does that
Ernie,
apply to
Ernie,
your point?
and
It's
you-
like the ratio of $1 to €1 is the same ratio as the ratio of 1 penny to 1/100th of a euro. Like it's just math.
right,
Yeah. So
and you're right. And because of the 1 megabyte limit, that was not going to get rid of. See, that's the thing, right? People.
what is the point you're making with that?
What I'm making with that is
That Bitcoin is always going to be 30 times more at a minimum than Bitcoin Cash is
Oh, I'm
going to
saying
be?
it's going to go significantly higher. I think that the value of a Bitcoin in the future is going to go to $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, and the value of a Bitcoin Cash will stay in the hundreds.
Well, his speculation.
And I'm like, I don't care, because I'm putting money in. I put fiat in to make a First.io transaction or move my silver, and I'm looking for the cost and the availability of the transaction.
It's because you don't want.
I want to be able to use my freaking money when I want to, and not when you say I can.
I'm not
Period.
saying. That's
End of
the thing.
freaking story.
Well, you seem to think that I have control of Bitcoin.
You're
or
advocating
blockchain
for
has
a
control of Bitcoin.
currency that denied me access to my money.
But the world
And
doesn't.
told me it was
Ernie,
and you told
but the
me
world-
that was a feature, not a bug.
but the
You
world
told me
doesn't-
that was a feature of Bitcoin.
don't-
You ought to
Ernie,
be lucky
Ernie,
you have that
Ernie,
money you
You
can't
are
use.
going to disagree, but the world doesn't revolve around you.
Now, fuck problem. We got all these benefits of everybody wants it, and you can't use it when you want to, and that's the club we're in. I'm going, do I have to be in that club?
This happens,
Can I not be in that club?
This happens every time you get out of the Wi-Fi. Like you don't have access to your Bitcoin anywhere where you don't have internet access. Like that's a function of it.
Well, I mean, like mycelium wallets can go between, and they have that off, the kind of crap that you can if somebody has addressed that. But with ubiquitous Wi-Fi and satellites coming, that's not going to be an issue anymore.
Right. I'm just saying, like it doesn't make sense to me to hold it against an entire currency that at one point the situation was you didn't have access. Like that happens all the time. Like I go to the bank and the ATM is malfunctioning, so I can't access.
No. That was not what it wasn't. A access, a cause of access to a network or a Wi-Fi. It was, oh yeah, it's here. Yeah, we see you. Yeah, well, we're just not, we're not big enough block to be able to include you, or you got to put in a $60 thing to do it, or you kind of ain't a grandma just button. And if you want to have I keep hearing for years, I get wide adoption. We had one of the Freedom Summits. We had Patrick Byrne, Cody Wilson, and who were this? Paul Rosenberg, I mean, it was a kick-ass summit. Well, here comes Paul Snow. Him and Rodriguez came from Berlin crypto Bitcoin thing conference in Berlin, and they were the following weekend or 2 weeks later was the Texas Bitcoin conference down at Circle of the Americas down in Austin there.
Yeah.
And they paid an extra, I don't know, $700,000 to have their tickets changed to go to Phoenix instead of going back to Texas because they wanted to be there to confront Cody. Okay.
Oh, I was at the next.
Because they were doing the dark wallet, blah blah blah, and whatever. Now Paul, nice guy, got along with him fine, made it clear wide adoption. I go, give me a grandma adjust button, I'll show you wide adoption. I got you. What the hell? You guys are not using your technology skills to give me a graphic user interface that makes it easy to use this.
And
you keep
give me permission and I'll show you why.
Exactly. He's good. Wide adoption was and actually said this. And I go, what you want is on my IRS tax form a line that says, and the profit and loss that I got from crypto goes here. That's what you want for your wide adoption is government permission slip of this. And he goes, yep. And then you'll see it skyrocket and we'll be all, and I go, yeah, and then you'll be a 50 stinking rich and you'll save the planet with this newfound money that the crown gave you.
He's right, but then the consensus pool is not people with like mine.
Exactly.
Okay, Ernie, what you have to understand is the grandma adjust button is not easy to make. Even if it's easy to make technologically, it has to be made in a way that is not like Eric Voorhees makes his businesses, where every 3 years, the government shows up and shuts him down. So what you need is a grandma just button that is resistant to that. And that is not easy to make.
I'm waiting. I get what I want. I bitch. Bitch,
Right.
bitch. Do letters of Captain Mark, second and third letter. Kind of, that's what exactly how I get what I want.
It's very
bitching about
it's very easy.
Boom!
It's very easy to create a Bitcoin competitor altcoin that is not resistant to the government. Very easy to make, but it's very difficult to make sure you get the features that you want where the government can't show up and shut it down. And that's what Bitcoin is working on, making sure that these features are not only functioning, and if it takes another 40 years to get done, then it takes another 40 years to get done.
And I don't give a shit what you call it. If Bitcoin's the one that does it, they win. And to sit there and tell me when I was a Bitcoin fan. I'm good. I don't give a shit which one. I had most of my crypto was in Bitcoin until I wanted to use it. And I go, you know what? I don't have that much Bitcoin anymore because I am not going to sit there and be told that not having access to my money is a feature. That is not a freaking feature. I don't give a shit how many times you say it.
So you'd rather have access to your money than
I
go to
want
zero?
access to my money. Period. End of story. Whatever its value is, my silver goes to $1 an ounce. It goes to 40, 50, whatever. I can sit there and hold it. Don't tell me. I got Bank of America telling me that. What's the difference? You know, so I'm going, oh, you mean the technology is such that it can't be done? Oh, okay. Well, then fuck you. I'm not using that technology then. Oh, well, we're going to do the sidechain thing. We'll get it. We'll be compliant and all that kind of. See, all this stuff, we're worried about Hellfire missiles. I'm not. I'm not going to let fear of the crown determine what ecosystem I use. The ecosystem has to be free to operate. And if it's not, you know, like in freedom, not free, you know, if it's not free in, you know, open source or I can see and I can do it, kind of, if it doesn't do that, and there's some machinations going on behind the scenes to make it, oh my God, be compliant. 15 months?
Ernie, Bitcoin transactions have been cheaper than BCH for the last 9 months. Where have you been?
Until the demand hits it, and we're going to find out. We are going to find out, Tom. What,
So,
I don't,
fine.
okay, let's say we find out.
It's been cheaper.
Next week.
It's been cheaper and more efficient the last 9 months. Why have you not been using it? Why are you using a more expensive thing the last 9 months?
For exactly this reason. I'll tell you why. When I had a restaurant, there was this monopoly on the phone system. I had 7 lines coming into my pizza delivery restaurant. We got boom, man, rocking and rolling. All of a sudden, the phone lines would go out. You know, I'd probably get my line done earlier because I'd go out where they're digging or cut or screwed up something and give the sitting there with employees and I'm burning cash and I'm sitting there going, what the fuck in my restaurant? And finally it got so bad, and Cox Cable, Cox my internet communication, same kind of shit. It got so bad that I made the decision and make it clear to them. I don't give a shit what other phone telecommunication option that I have in the future. And this is the late 90s. You still had a monopoly. It was Mountain Bell of whatever the hell before you started being able to get competing services. And then you got voice over internet, and I gave you more options, and on and on and on. You didn't give me any kind of, you know, a service pat on the head, or you just told me I was full of shit because I, you know, was bitching about I couldn't have access to my money.
How do you know?
And I go, when the next phone system comes in, F you, I went to that and did. Done. Next. That's why.
So you potentially used an inferior product.
Absolutely.
You use an
absolutely.
You spend
because
more
that
money.
is a free market push on you better get better. You piss me. You think that doesn't happen?
Oh, they
Catalytics.
did. Oh,
Catalytics.
Ernie,
based on my voice.
Ernie, and when they did get better, you were the sucker for the next 5 years, overpaying for a shittier product.
No, by then I had so much better, went past and leaps and bounds, and mostly because I made that decision, because I bitched, because people, you know, they lose. What do you think corporations want all this PR for their warm and fuzzies and their credibility and J.D. Powers awards of the blah, 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 for exactly this reason, for reputation. And Bitcoin's reputation has been almost damaged beyond repair for the future. And if it happens again, how are you going to recover from that? The government says we sanction them now. They're part of us. And Bitcoin will
No,
scream
it's
towards the
irrelevant.
ground
It's irrelevant.
saying, please make
Ernie,
us relevant.
It's irrelevant what the government says. And as long as it,
Yeah.
as long as
You just sat there for a freaking hour telling me how relevant the government says it.
to things outside of Bitcoin, again, Bitcoin.
Oh, but not Bitcoin. Fuck me.
Right.
Be consistent, man.
That's the point. It's irrelevant what the government says about Bitcoin, but it's relevant what the government says about another altcoin because they can go and shut it down. They're way more at risk of government censorship. And I want my technology to be built to resist government censorship. And if it takes longer than what I like it to take,
Well, you know,
and if it takes longer than what you like it to take, so what?
in that resistance, I'd like to have access to it. Just saying. And it's going to happen. We're going to test it. See, the one
Basically,
thing.
you were inconvenienced by a product that was ahead of its
Fucking
time.
A right.
That was ahead of its
Oh,
time.
hell yeah.
That was ahead of its time.
Hell yeah. And told that I was being unreasonable.
Well, the product can't tell you anything, right? It's just people interpreting the
shit,
product,
you were.
right?
So it's like BCH had salmonella once, so I only eat kale now.
Yeah,
You know,
pretty much.
yeah, I give you that. Is that when you have a fundamental flaw in, some delivery service chain, if something happens,
Yeah.
and then you go, okay, what's the problem? Well, this was a predicted problem. This is like, if you do this, and then you go, well, they spammed the network, and that's what did it, and they did a bunch of, I go, good. I need to know if it's viable,
Right,
because
so
that's exactly what
Ernie,
happens with our servers here.
but
When we are
Ernie,
popular, it goes
Ernie.
down. We get DDoS, and I need to know if we can survive it, yes or no. Go ahead and test that some bit so we can be a fix. And I don't go, oh, I'm sorry you can't get access to Freedom's Phoenix because we're so popular, and it just,
Right.
the more popular we get, the less
Ernie,
you're going to be able to
Ernie,
use it.
but
Sorry,
Ernie,
but fuck you.
Ernie, but the reason why Bitcoin Cash did not suffer from the same spam attack that Bitcoin did is because no one cares to do it. No one cares enough about it to try and break it.
Well,
Well,
here,
they will eventually.
yeah, here comes Bitcoin
no,
SV.
I'd like to see
They
how
won't.
it handles the same volume.
Yeah, I was like,
They won't.
absolutely freaking lutely. Let's do it.
Because no
I think we're
one,
gonna find out.
because no one cares enough to scam the people of Bitcoin Cash to get them on their own currency. But Bitcoin Cash
What?
people
So are there
cared.
still orphan transactions from this period of high volume? Like, did the blockchain eventually reconcile all those?
No,
transactions, or-
some transactions got dropped. I scammed a couple of friends on $5 drinks. During that time span, we were at a bar. We were down in Colombia, and like a couple of guys bought me drinks that night. And I'm like, yeah, I'll send you $5 worth of Bitcoin for the drink.
Zero
And like
transaction fee.
the transaction fee was small because it was a $5 transaction. I'm like, well, I'm not paying you $10 to send you $5.
And so the
so-
$5 never moved.
So like 2 weeks later, the transactions got dropped off the network, and I got the money back.
Yeah, no, I saw where it was, God, hundreds of thousands. There's at least 300. I stopped even
But-
looking after I hit 300.
but-
300,000 backup transactions.
But I will also say
300 freaking thousand. That's a
yeah, but
benefit.
but
It's a feature.
right, but 99% of them were spam transactions that had no economic activity, right?
Well,
So-
one of them was freaking mine.
Well, one of them yours, yeah, but 90
Or 5 or
but
10 or
but
whatever it
The reason,
was.
but the reason
Mhm.
why there were 30,000 is because
No, 300,000.
300.
And it was probably
Ernie,
a lot more than that.
And the reason why there were 300,000 is because 299,000 of them were spam in order to get people like you to use an inferior currency.
Well, it does sound like a valid.
sounds like a good
test
test
of
to
the
me.
system. Like you wanna test your system.
Damn
with
Skippy.
More transactions than are currently happening because you want it to eventually
Boom.
be able to handle that kind of volume.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And they're going, yes, we need to be.
Right.
What did I hear? You have, well, we got 7 transactions per second capacity to blah, blah, blah,
But
which
the
ain't
only
shit.
relevant question is, can Bitcoin Cash handle that volume?
Absolutely not.
I don't know. We're going to find out.
Absolutely not.
Because then
You're
they go
not
to
gonna-
credit. They
you're
go to
not-
credit cards. They
Ernie,
go,
Ernie,
Visa has
Ernie,
50 gazillion.
you're
Let me
not-
finish my
You're
point.
not going to find
Visa
out.
has all these big, giant, humongous capacity or whatever, and for us to be able to compete with the credit cards or whatever, we need to have a crypto that does that. And I'm going, okay, are you guys going to do that? Nope. It's a feature, not a bug.
You're not.
I mean, what?
You're not going
No.
to find out because people like me are not incentivized to spam Bitcoin Cash with 300,000 transactions.
Yay.
But they were incentivized to spam it to Bitcoin to create their own currency.
Well, this is speculation, but I mean, it
No,
wouldn't
it's a
surprise me.
fact. It's an absolute fact.
Wouldn't
And
surprise me.
do you know how I can prove this to you?
I don't care.
Fine.
I mean, you know,
It's
say
a fact,
they did.
it's a fact that you don't want to listen to me prove it.
No, I'll believe you. They did it. Okay, now what? It couldn't survive it. It had these people did these transactions and Bitcoin crashed.
It survived it. It didn't crash.
I couldn't get my money. That's crash, as far as I'm concerned.
You were personally
I was
slightly
inconvenienced.
in order
It's only a slightly inconvenience you don't get your money. Slightly.
But you still have your money. Like,
Of
if
course.
the
No, I don't.
transaction- if
The-
the
the-
transaction was
no,
dropped
because-
out of the
no,
network,
because-
it would
because you-
hurt.
no.
No, the value of
That's what you're
the Bitcoin was $18,000 when I was trying to get it, and I couldn't get it.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's an exchange rate volatility problem, not a protocol problem. That's the same as Joby Weeks' problem. That's not the same thing.
The protocol didn't allow me to get my money.
You still have it. You still have the same amount of Bitcoin you had then. If the
It
transaction
did
reverted,
not
then you still have
allow
your
me
Bitcoin.
to transfer it. It
Right.
did not allow me
Yes,
to
you
do
were
commerce. It
inconvenienced.
did. You fucking A right. I was inconvenienced.
But you still, it sounds like you're saying your Bitcoin was not orphaned, right? You still possess the Bitcoin that was locked up for
Yeah.
a reason.
It wasn't like a big giant deal of what I would rather have moved and got more.
All right,
Kind of, that wasn't the point. It was, can I or can I not, this one currency, this cryptocurrency that we have been pimping for years and years and years, and they had a year of arguing over, you're not going to be, when the demand comes, you're not going to be able to service that
let's go.
demand. It came, it wasn't able to service it. Whether it was fake or not, it didn't matter.
Let's talk about the properties that matter, right?
You need to get on the mic.
Let's talk about the properties that matter. Resistance.
God.
Resistance
that.
to government censorship matters to you?
Yeah.
Yes. Privacy matters to
Yeah.
you? Yes. Let's see. The inability for someone to seize your currency
Matters. Yep.
The ability of that currency to maintain its value over time
Yeah,
matters
I
to
don't-
you?
I don't
Doesn't
really
matter
care,
to you. Then why do you have gold and silver in your wall?
because I feel it's better than crypto.
That's fine, right? No, but why? But what's the property of gold and silver that matters to you? The
That I
fact that
hold
it,
I got it. It's mine.
it's yours.
Next.
No one can steal it, and it retains its purchasing power over time. Yes. Say yes.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So that property matters to you as well.
Yeah.
The
That's like
fact.
the central argument
Yeah,
for gold.
listen.
Like every gold bucket.
Right.
has-
I know.
Yeah.
They're sitting there going, thanks, Stone.
Right. Now, I just need it on the record that he says it. Now, and so you don't want whatever you're holding to go down in price over time. Now, another property that matters to you
Well,
is the ability.
price, the purchasing power.
Right, purchasing power matters to you. All of these properties matter to you. Now, another property that matters to you is the ability to send it quickly and cheaply to someone else.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So I just named about 5 or 6 properties.
Yep.
So one of those properties happens to be the last one. One of those properties, the one that
Is that I get to
Listen,
fucking do it
Ernie, listen.
when I want
Ernie,
to.
Ernie,
That's
listen.
a big, giant,
Ernie,
humongous one.
listen. The last property, I believe, is the least important of the ones that I named.
See,
listen,
Catalytics, that's your determination.
That's my
of what the
determination. That's
priority
fine.
is.
That's fine.
Do I get
Ernie.
to have my list of priorities in my
Ernie,
order?
listen.
Either I do or I don't.
Ernie, listen. The last property, I can explain to you why it's the least important, but it doesn't matter. It is one. It is one of 5 properties. You got inconvenienced by that one.
Wow,
listen,
I wonder how you
Ernie,
trivialize this.
listen. You got inconvenienced
Inconvenient.
by one of the 5 properties for approximately 2 weeks of your life. And because
Wow.
you got inconvenienced by one of those properties for 2 weeks of your life, you have thrown all of the other properties out the window
Have I?
and moved to a shittier alternative.
Have I?
Yes.
In your opinion? And one of the big giant that has all those other properties don't mean shit if you can't use it. When it's the most important to you. And who gets to decide when that is? The economist will tell you, you were just inconvenienced for a couple of weeks. The catalytic, philosophy is I get to fucking decide when it was the most important. And that's what
Ernie,
Tone is taking away from me. He's saying when you think it is the most important, doesn't matter.
No, he's not. He's trying to persuade you. He's
I
not
know,
trying
and
to
he's
persuade
failing.
you.
My thing is it's always my money when it's my money when I get to use it when I want to. And if I don't have that, and when it's most popular, feel happy you don't get to go and use it. And I'm like, when the hell did this become a benefit? Well, it's because, you know, you go through all this bullshit. That's what pisses me off. Nobody will just sit there and say, yeah, it kind of sucked, and that, you know, we're growing pains and we're working on fixing it and we're going to meet that criteria and we're not going to let that happen again because we got the solution to whatever the hell.
That's exactly what he's saying.
No, he is not. You
He's
were
saying-
inconvenienced.
Right, but he's saying
And you're
that this is a problem that'll be fixed. Whether or not that's accurate.
It's been. I'm actually saying it's been. I'm actually saying it's been fixed. I'm not saying it's going to get fixed. I'm saying it's been fixed. And during that
We're
time,
gonna find out.
when I got my 2 pairs of $5 drinks for free, during that time I had to send the transaction and I had to bump that fee because I got cheap. I was sending a transaction and my phone told me, you really should pay a $20 transaction fee. And I said, no, that's ridiculous. I'm going to pay a $10 transaction fee. And the next day, the transaction did not clear. And I go, God damn it, I have to bump the transaction fee up. So I go back into the phone and my phone tells me
$30.
no, my phone told me 50. And I said, no, screw this. I'm not going to pay 50. I'm going to pay 35. And you know what my phone told me the next day? You're an idiot. Now it's 100. And you know what I did? I had to pay the 100 to get that transaction in.
Yay.
Okay? It happens. And I understood the fact that in order for what you say in that pirate letter to be true into the future, this is the trade-off of a couple of weeks inconvenience during a very delicate time in Bitcoin survival.
This is what I anticipate the future is going to be. Now, this is all principle and talking, and I'm going, where I get boisterous and, you know, probably frame more anger than I feel, because, you know, it's just, I think people from my position should be represented with passion, because I don't think there's enough passion to go up against Tone and these guys saying, you were just inconvenienced for a couple of weeks. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? What? That's your answer? That's your customer service? You know,
There is no customer service.
Exactly.
It's a decentralized protocol.
So I'm going,
You use it or you don't.
This is the argument. You know, when that was happening, I had a Mark Victor's son, you know, which is now like, I don't know, he's like a sophomore in college or something. But at the time, he was like a teenager. He's like 13, 14. And I got, now look, I'm going to give you $5 in Bitcoin here. You know, now we wrote down, I said, no, I'm not letting you go until we write down these words here to recover, because you'll lose the phone or you kind of whatever. You know, this $5, here it is, and this is going to be worth some real money someday. You know, do we understand? Sitting there with his mom, Amy, sitting there talking, we're out doing some Freedom Summit work and something, and her son was there. And I go, I'm going to give this to you. Here we go. It's December of last year, or year before last, when all this was going on. He calls me and he says, Ernie, you remember that Bitcoin you gave me? I already know where this is going, you know. Why, yes, I do. Do you still have that phone? No, I traded it in for another. And I go, well, you remember those words that I told you to write down? And we got, yeah, but I can't find it. I go, well, you're screwed. He goes, well, is there a Bitcoin customer service number I can call? No, there's not. We had this conversation, okay? So the advocates for Bitcoin generally comes from guys like Snow was doing. They have a bunch, they set it over here, and they go, and I remember Bitcoin at the time was like 160 or some shit like that. And they go, oh, it's going to be, well, I know when it hit 10 or 15,000 or whatever, you know, I go, you happy now? I have to Paul on. You happy? No, it's going to go, it's to the moon. And I'm going, all right, well, let me tell you I'll tell you when that's going to happen. It's going to happen when we just saw a small fraction of people of this planet, itty bitty living space, they had a little bit of taste and it shot up. And I go, that is coming on steroids, because it is going to allow people to bypass all these cash controls that's happening in all these countries, including the United States. And they are shutting down accounts. They're doing, porn stars and ammunition makers and whatever the hell. They turn off your credit cards. Hell, Cody Wilson trying to keep Ghost Gunner going was spend most of his time just having bank accounts, opened up. So I'm going, this is a weaponized money system, and it's going to be the inconvenience side of the system. They're outside. They want to transact with each other without permission slips. They don't want surveillance. They don't want to be charged an arm. You don't want to. You're dealing with freaking loan sharks. So now the Bitcoin miners become loan sharks. It's not even a loan. It's my money and I get sharked. So where the hell do you think all that money went? It went to the miners. Well, who wants to low, block size?
All right. Bye, guys. I'm going to end the stream.
For it. So I'm just going, God, this is so freaking obvious to me that in a free market economy, options will be taken. Options are there and offered. So there's going to be another crypto. And you haven't even talked about quantum. We follow quantum on communication category on Freedom's Phoenix and on Pirates Without Borders. You go into communication category at the top, and you'll see all of the
that has a chance to do what you describe in that letter, or you stay in fiat because it's way more secure and way better than other cryptos. That's my point. My point is,
okay.
My point is, I would rather stay in fiat. Like if you told me, Tone, I'm going to give you $10,000. Would you rather hold it in Bitcoin Cash or any other altcoin or in US dollars? I'll take the dollars. But if you offer it to me in Bitcoin, I'll take the Bitcoin.
I don't know. It better be a really light bearer bond for $1 gazillion on my pirate ship in space, because I don't want to be hauling around shit. I'd rather have a good crypto or a plethora of them. I mean, that's what your Nano S or your Trezor is for. That's what paper wallets are for. I got a bunch here, and you're kind of and something. And which one do I got to use? And the problem.
Transferring the $10,000 to me. If that's the choice, do you want $10,000 in Bitcoin Cash or $10,000 in fiat? How are you transferring the $10,000?
Well, if I can't.
I'd like you to interview this guy again. We can do that. You want to know? You want me somebody to interview? You send me $30 and a little bit of silver. I'm all over it, man. That's somebody I'd interviewed before anyway. So I'm just going, all right. So this is what would I encourage people to give me? If they want to support me, what would I want them to give? Will I take their dollars? Will I take their yeah? But at some point, the dollars become inconvenient. It gets over a certain amount of PayPal, they're triggering a thing. It gets in my bank account. Anything that goes in my bank account, I got to pay taxes on. Or I got to, well, you need to fill out the schedule, this and the kind of deal. Sounds like enslavement to the man of filling the money swinging around. People just paying for whatever. They were not logging it with the FEC. It's called the First Amendment of kiss my ass. We're spending money on I'm buying and distributing whatever the hell I want to do. And the man did not like it. Now, where'd all that money come? How did you do it? That people just did it. Well, that wasn't approved. Damn it.
I think it was printed by the Federal Reserve. I don't know where it was after that.
Yeah, it just kind of disappeared. Like paper money. So when we get into the next, that's what those were so concerned about in the first Anarchapulco. The man was down there and the questions came. And what they wanted to know, what are all you newly rich secret crypto guys going to do for the next election? Because they were worried about Rand Paul. Is he going to run for president? Is Iran going to run for president? You're going to be using crypto. It was all about crypto, how you avoiding taxes, yada, 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 yada. They're all about the control and the freedom that we have to use digital currencies. And I'm going, that's what I want. But in amongst all of that was I get to use it when I want. Well, it's popular and you should be happy and you don't get it. That freaking just pisses me off, Tone. It just pisses me off every time you say, well, you were inconvenienced.
Let me throw something else at you, right? So I've been, this entire morning I've been trying to live stream this thing, and it was a complete and utter disaster. I was using your bandwidth. It was kind of okay. Then I had to stop using your bandwidth.
Well, you're probably on the wrong server. You need to be on this one.
I was on Netgear, whichever one it was. So tomorrow morning we're gonna try and solve that, but I highly doubt it'll work. So I tried using one of yours. It was streaming kind of okay. I've gone through 3 different mics in order to get different audio. We were using bandwidth. I just stopped the live stream. I mean, I can't do it, right? So the technology of today is not allowing me a simple thing of live streaming to the internet. Maybe I'm the idiot and my equipment's bad, or I don't know what I'm doing, right? But the point is, we struggled, even you struggled earlier today with some technological issues. Now, this is something that's supposed to be very,
but it's not a feature.
This is something that was supposed to be very, very simple,
but
right?
Not a feature.
In today's day and age. What do you mean? The feature of the internet to be able to live?
No, you're saying that you can't. Well, that's a feature because
I'm just saying,
it's popularity. Don't you want to go to a restaurant that you can't stream at?
I'm just saying, today, all morning, both of us, you and I, have been inconvenienced by limitations of technology. Yep. Yes or no? Yep. Yes. We're both inconvenienced. Now, here's what we're not doing. You are not switching to a lesser technology tomorrow that's going to be even more inconvenience for you in the future. And that's what all the other altcoins are. Bitcoin isn't perfect.
You're wrong.
And it's going to...
You're
I'm
wrong.
not wrong.
No, you are wrong. I have right now, whenever this happens, I have Verizon hotspot on this. When I can't upload my stuff, I use my hotspot, or I use Donna's hotspot, or we have whatever it is. We go to alternative. Is it better than that? Well, it might be then. It might be that moment. It might be for that 10 minutes. It might be, I have alternative backups to do exactly what you're talking about.
Me too.
And you're going, all right, in the future, I'm going to have, they keep going, Gigablast, Cox Stream. I go, bullshit. I pay whatever to try and get my 300 down and 30 up, and I really need the 30 up to do it. And it goes, yeah, it gets down to like 15 or something. I'm calling, boom, get your ass over here and fix my blah, 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 blah. So this is, it's a bitchin' customer that gets the grease, man. I mean, that's what I do. So I have other alternatives, and what happens when I got, CubeSat, SpaceX, Verizon, galactic, blah, 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 satellite moving cell towers up in space. If I got my own satellite dish, if they can suck it. I am going for the technology that allows me to do it. And I am not arguing that Cox is so great because when everybody's using it, it gets slow. That's a feature. I am not saying that. I don't know how the hell you say that and think that that's a feature.
It's a limitation of the best technology.
Which is not a feature.
It's a limitation of the best technology at the time.
It is not a feature.
Well, the transaction fees going up when too many people use it as a feature. Otherwise, it becomes unusable. So it was turned into a feature to make it function. Functioning at $100 fee is better than not functioning.
No, I give you that.
Right.
I give you that.
Bitcoin.
And we made sure it was a $100 fee by limiting the block size because we make much more than fuck you.
Well, because if it wasn't limited, we may not have decentralized money anymore.
Okay. So Bitcoin, they're saying it's a feature. They're wearing that as a badge and stripe on their sleeves. Peace. But anything that's an alternative goes, they're scam coins because they, are better than us at this thing. And
because they're not decentralized.
How the hell are they? All right.
They're not giving you the points in your letter. They solved your problem by removing the decentralized aspect of it, like PayPal.
How is it Bitcoin? I keep hearing that. They're decentralized.
They're not.
So Bitcoin, when it was half the size of Bitcoin Cash, was not decentralized?
No, it was.
When was it? What? It was? It wasn't?
Well,
at what point? What's the definition of that? How many nodes does there have to be? how much, control they have over the developers, how much. I mean, I can go back in time to Bitcoin was worse than Bitcoin Cash. I can guarantee that. And you're going, yeah, but it's different now because it's different because it's different.
Because it's always a sliding scale. How many nodes do you need to be decentralized? Answer, as many as possible. How many developers do you need to be decentralized? Answer, as many smart people as possible, right?
By your subjective opinion of whatever you want.
Well, it's not an opinion, right? Like, I want the maximum number of smart developers
so you keep
who are
saying that.
in the right state of mind that want government-free money.
Yeah, the state of mind, it better freaking not be compliance. I can guarantee you that.
Right, which is what I know about the Bitcoin Core developers. I don't know this about Bcash developers.
Bcash,
right?
What's that?
Exactly.
Bitcoin Cash.
Oh, Bitcoin Cash. Oh, okay. If you say Bcash, Roger Ver blows up.
I know. Oh god, like I can't actually stop my stream at this point. Like, it automatically just streams. Like, I can't even end it.
All right, well, we can wrap it up. We got more this week to go at, but I'm glad we did this because I am so sick and tired of being told me not having access to my money is some kind of a benefit. What the hell is that a benefit? I'm going, no, it just pisses me off. There's no recognition, because if there's no recognition that that's a problem, it's because they see the potential it's going to happen again.
You know how I see it? You know how
again. Here it comes.
You know,
again.
You know how I see it, Ernie? It was like, you probably would not have known. Somebody like called you, Ernie, the internet is really slow. Try to do as much as you can right now, just so it doesn't work for you either. And then you can go and complain to the man about the internet not working. Don't think I wasn't getting
text all during the show. That's exactly what they were saying.
Like, that's what's happening, right? It's like shit ain't working, and then people are like, people that want you mad. Ernie, it's not working. Go try to use it. It's not working, and then you're gonna buy my stuff.
Yeah, I'll go buy their stuff. What do you think? I went to Zoom from Skype. It worked better.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm on Zoom as well.
Okay, so and that's what they were saying. You should have zoomed in here. And
well, I didn't know how to zoom in there. It would have been complicated.
We'll try and deal with it tomorrow.
I'm just going to record it locally tomorrow through OBS because I see your OBS as well. I'm going to record it locally and then I'm just going to post it up. I'm not going to do live tomorrow. So now my stream.
Yeah, just go to freaking our stream. They want to see it live.
I can't get to your stream because I don't have the freaking Flash, latest Flash or whatever on my computer.
All right, well.
I'm gonna upgrade Flash. I'm going to see if I can get to your stream tomorrow. I think I'm just going to record locally. I'll send people to your stream for the live. I'm going to record it locally. All right. And
all right. What is tomorrow anyway? I don't know what my schedule is tomorrow. It's Donna thing.
Wednesday the 16th.
And all of a sudden, everything is good now. Well, unless I'm rewatching.
I turned off the stream to the network and.
No, but I'm still on my own network. Like, I'm not even on yours.
Because the man doesn't want us to have our transaction of information when it's most important to us. You were just inconvenienced. Tone, quit your bitching. It's a feature. It was popular.
Yes, I was inconvenienced.
So shut the fuck up.
And I understand that there's limits to the technology, which sucks. But I'm hoping that as I continue to live stream over the next 5 years, it'll get better. But it hasn't yet.
God, you're not going to win this. I'm going to be,
I'm going to win it
because it's a benefit.
Because eventually your altcoin transactions will not function at all. I'm going to win this argument. I'm trying to get you on the right side of history now and not when it's too late.
I'll tell you the right side of history. Bitcoin is going to fix these problems, and then I use it, and then I'll be on the right side.
They have fixed it, and you refuse to use it.
No, it's fixed for the volume that is now.
Which is 100 times
what am I going to do?
Than on other coins.
Let me tell you what happened. I had my Bitcoin sitting in Bitcoin, got my Bitcoin. Did my nano thing, got my Bitcoin. When I wanted to use it, built up, I was mining, I did all that, built up. I want to buy a little bit, I can't. So why would I leave it in Bitcoin when it goes to when I want to use it? I'm not going to be able to benefit, feature, not above.
You leave it in Bitcoin to protect your store of value. You leave it in Bitcoin.
I don't leave it in Bitcoin if I want to use it. What if I want to use it? Am I allowed to use it?
Then you need to convert from fiat into an altcoin immediately, use the altcoin, then convert back to fiat. It's a ridiculous system.
I couldn't convert to anything because it was sitting in Bitcoin.
You could have. You have to pay a slightly higher transaction fee because of bad actors spamming the chain.
Oh, God.
Which
if
shouldn't
it can't
happen
hold
again.
up to that, then you were done.
It held up to it. You just didn't like the way it held up to it.
You are correct, sir. You are absolutely freaking correct.
Right.
I did not like it.
And I was fine with it because I understand the greater goal.
All right. All right. I think we have expressed ourselves fully. Tomorrow, I got Dr. Judy Mikovits in the 3rd hour and Austin Jones, Atlas Arms. Atlas Arms, what's that about? Out of Austin.
So which is your free hour tomorrow?
I don't know. The middle hour, but I may be able to move one to the 2nd hour, and then we have the 3rd and go long or something. But I'll work on it. All right.
That would be great because then I can start my stream on the 3rd hour and then we go over.
Right. So we'll do that.
See if you can give that a shot.
All right. Donna. So we'll get that thing.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, it looks like my stream is good. Weird. Now that it's over.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
But tomorrow, tomorrow I'm just gonna record locally.
You were just inconvenienced for when you really wanted the stream to go out.
But you're always inconvenienced at the worst possible time, right? It's like when you're in a big rush to drive somewhere, that's when your tire blows.
Kind of my point.
It's just life.
Oh God.
Technology.
It's just life.
Technology will always slightly fail us. It just can't fail to the point of destruction.
I want to leave it on this. Now give Davi a chance to say yo what's up and you and give out web pages and all that shit. But the people listening, the live streaming, tones, I haven't looked at I don't care, okay? But I guarantee that Ernie, he's such a dumb shit, he don't know whatever the hell. And I'm going, if you guys in your comments, that there's somebody in there that's going, when I really want to use it and not having access to using it, regardless of how much I put in a transaction fee, it's not a feature, okay? It's a problem. And if that's not addressed in this next time, you're going to be on the wrong side of history. And I'm telling you, this not having access to your money, that will devastate the half of the planet that is not even on the internet yet. We just had in the last couple of weeks, that last month or so, that for the first time, half of the planet is now on the internet. The other half of the planet is going to get on the internet in probably the next 3 to 10 years. Use your first market advantage. It will be freaking over. And you can scream about features of it being clogged up all you want, and it won't matter. And transaction fees of guys that make $3 a day to be charging $3 a transaction is not going to flush. I guarantee it. So all the stuff that we're talking about is not for you out there that are inconvenienced by paying a $100 transaction fee. It is for the other half of the planet that's going to come on, and they're going to be given an option. Do you want a retina scan and a DNA sample to get on the man's grid and have a bank account? Or I could just go over here to this wallet and none of your freaking business. Now, where do you think it's going to go? And while you're screaming about, the bank, you're just there for compliance and working and interfacing with the legacy banking system, which is not going to be the future. Certainly for pirates. That's my opinion. And it will be borne out. Because when you get the half of the planet that comes on and they're going to want to do banking. You're going to have a 13-year-old from the Amazon wants to trade with the 15-year-old in the Congo without a permission slip, and a drone delivers it. And I'm going, and what are you going to do? What transaction fees you going to? What bank accounts you going to do? How much are you going to? Well, it's kind of your money. You just can't have it now. That is not going to be the future. It's not. I don't give a shit what you guys say. So you mark your calendars. January, whatever the hell it is, the 15th, for next year or the year after, and you look back and you go, we'll re-listen to that, that spirited conversation that Tone and Ernie and Davi had, and see where we're at. And it will not be a feature if you can't have access to your money and you're poor. Because I've been poor. Don't tell me it's an inconvenience. It's whether my kids eat or not. And I am not going to let that one go without a challenge. So pirateswithoutborders.com, the second letter of Captain Mark and the third letter of Captain Mark is on digital currencies and on privacy. And those two really go together. Davi and I are finishing one on healthcare right now. Or really you just own yourself and you've not met your freaking neural net of bionic arm or whatever the hell you want to do, or not be forced to take some notion and potion from the crown, and not, have, pick your brain surgeon for chickens. I mean, whatever, and pay them with chickens. This is, where we're at. And I know there's other opinions and so on. You go read the letters of Captain Mark and Reprisal, and you'll see. And now we got Dr. Idris Barber. He's the barber physician, on the ship. So we don't think we haven't been thinking about this. We have. All right. Davi, give out whatever site stuff you want to end with. And then
Whatever
we'll
site. Go to Bitcoin.bombs. We update it at least every 4 years. I mean, my last word on this one is just like, every system is everything is unpredictable, and every system is potentially going to be under attack. And so the wisest thing to do is to diversify, so that if a network is down and if you can't move your money when you want to, you have money in some other source that you can move at the time. And I mean, this is why I hold Bitcoin, and I hold Bitcoin Cash, and I hold a variety of other things, because if the payment method I want to use isn't working at the moment, or if the customer, or if the restaurant doesn't take it, like, you want to have a diversity of assets that you can use to pay for things.
Give out your web pages and whatever.
Sure. I'm
That's my
Tone Base. I'm Tone Base everywhere. Tone Base YouTube channel. Tone Base
I
on
say
Twitter.
Bays because it's VAYS.
Sounds good.
I just want to make sure you guys know how to spell.
I'm organizing my first conference in Las Vegas in about 10 days called Unconfiscatable, my favorite feature of Bitcoin. Hence, the conference is called Unconfiscatable. Check out unconfiscatable.com, and that will be taking place in Vegas. Other than that, I travel the world, speak and educate people about Bitcoin, and I'm not very happy with all the other alternatives.
Peace.